Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's vlogmas video is going to be my reading wrap up for the months of October and November. I read a total of 20 books in the months of October and November, 10 books in October, 10 books in November. So let's just get straight into it. We're gonna start with the books that I own in physical form first, and we'll just go through all of these and then we'll jump into the audiobooks that I listened to, and then we'll jump into the books that I read on my Kindle. First up here, we have Dead of Winter. I'm not gonna talk too much about this book because I talked about this book in both of these videos. This has to be my favorite horror novel. I'm still, as you guys know, getting into the genre, so I don't necessarily have a top 5 horror books that I love quite yet. I'm still getting into it. But if I did have a top book at the moment, it would be this one. The plot twist in this book, as y'all saw in this video specifically, had me gagged. And I was reading the Goodreads reviews, and most of the people on Goodreads were like, I saw that from a mile away. Like, I saw all of that shit coming. Maybe I'm just stupid. Maybe I'm just stupid because I didn't see any of it coming. It got me. It did. My dramatics while reading this were incredibly valid because it was jaw-dropping. 4 out of 5 stars. Next, we have another horror novel, which I ended up finishing this book in audio form on the way back from Virginia, The Twisted Ones. I ended up giving this book 3.5 stars. The beginning of it, the first 75% of it was really, really good. I did feel like the last 25% just felt a little meh. It wasn't necessarily bad per se, but I just feel like it could have given more. This was that folkloric horror novel that is set in the Appalachian Mountains. This girl's going to her grandmother's house to clean it out after she died. Her grandmother was also very much a hoarder, so the house is just like eerily creepy and also packed. While she's there, she does find these old journals from her dead step-grandfather as well, and in these journals he writes some spooky ass shit, and you're just like, what? Random things keep popping up, weird things keep happening while she's there, weird things keep popping into her windows. No. Next we have All Roads Lead Here, which I read in this video. I loved this book so much. I also love this video so much. I'm never really one to rewatch my own content, but I have gone back twice to rewatch this video because it's just really calming for me. Being outside was just really, really good for me. All Roads Lead Here, 6 out of 5 star read for me. I love Tobias Rhodes. There I said it. I love Tobias. Him and Dallas, which I'll talk about, wait for it, because I did reread this book in the month of November in a second. They're kind of tied at the moment. That's how much I love him. I loved him even more the second time reading this book because this was a reread. Just another incredible slow burn romance by Mariana Zapata, the queen herself. Let's go ahead and talk about Wait For It. I did drop everything a couple weeks ago and reread Wait For It. This is another slow burn romance by Mariana Zapata. The two main characters in this book are neighbors, and she's a guardian for 2 boys, and he's one of the boys' baseball coach. I think I worded that grammatically wrong, but you get the gist. None of the characters in Mariana Zapata books are enemies really at the beginning. They just never acknowledge each other. As you guys know, I talk about her books all the freaking time. The 2 characters just don't even acknowledge each other. And then next thing you know, they're making eye contact 75% through, and then they're kissing by the last page and you're like, ah! 6 out of 5 stars. If I had a top 5 books, I haven't really thought about that recently, this would be in the list. And probably All Roads Lead Here. That's how much I love these books. Next we have The Neighbor Favor, which I actually listened to this book in audio format, but I own it, so we're gonna include it with these. I gave this book 3.5 stars. I think if I would have read it rather than listening to the audio, I probably would have given it 4 stars though. The audio wasn't bad per se, but as I've told you guys, the whole first part of this book, the characters are sending emails back and forth, so it was just a little bit annoying in audio format for it to be from N.R. Strickland to Lily G, date blank, subject blank. 1 sentence, and then it repeats that for the first 60 pages of the book, basically. Not the first 60, probably like page 30 to 60 is just emails being sent back and forth. I can't stop thinking about this book. I really did like the premise of it. He is not only her neighbor, well, he ends up becoming her neighbor, but the MMC is also this girl's, or one of this girl's favorite authors, and she just doesn't know because he writes under a pen name. Cute. I liked their dynamic. I felt like there was a lot of chemistry between them. I'll probably do a reread of this book sometime in 2025, but I'll read it rather than listening to it. I found out last year that I was being charged for 2 gym memberships at the same gym because of using Rocket Money. Before we continue with today's video, I do want to quickly thank the sponsor, which is Rocket Money. We all know I love Rocket Money. I use the app every single day. I've been using the app for almost a year now. I've been paying for the premium subscription for this app for almost a year now as well. I love Rocket Money, the app. I love being able to track my finances that way. and I also love being able to see what subscriptions I have. Rocket Money is an all-in-one personal finance app that helps you cancel subscriptions, lower your bills, and just overall manage your money better. Once you connect your bank account, Rocket Money puts all of your subscriptions into one list for you, so you can see every single subscription that you have. Everybody has so many subscriptions nowadays, it's really easy to overlook maybe one or two that you're still being charged for that you thought you canceled, or for one that you're potentially being charged twice for, like me. The subscription list that Rocket Money makes for you, if you want to cancel a subscription with the Rocket Money app, it's as easy as going to that list and you can cancel it on their app with just a few taps. On the Rocket Money app, you can also customize budgets on there, which is what I do every single month. I have a monthly budget that I really try and stick to. It's very important that I am managing my money well, and the Rocket Money app is just really helpful in setting those budgets for me monthly. If you want to get started with Rocket Money today for free, you can go to rocketmoney.com/heather.mclarry. You can join the over 5 million members using Rocket Money today for free using the code heather.mclarry, or you can click the link in the description bar down below. Thank you, Rocket Money, for sponsoring today's video. I love your app. I use it every single day, and let's get back into the vlog. Legendborn. Someone commented a couple days ago and said, maybe Heather likes Legendborn so much because she can't visualize things in her head. Apparently some people have a hard time visualizing some of the descriptors in this book in their head. I can't visualize shit in my head, so maybe. I don't know. I gave it 5 stars. I loved this book. Dark Academia, Secret Societies. This is for 9th house lovers. I've said that on here. I said that on Instagram. I said that on TikTok. I said that everywhere. If you like 9th house, you will love this book. Very much a woman coming into her power. Legacies meant to be broken. Like, everything about this. The way the pacing was, the story being told, everything about this book was just perfect. And as you guys saw in my book haul video, I did get the second book. I will be reading that because I heard it's even better. Also, if you haven't read Legendborn or 9th house and you're wanting to get into some Dark Academia fantasy, I do recommend reading this one first. Maybe try Legendborn first. 9th house is a little bit harder to grasp what the hell is going on the first 100 pages of that book. Whereas when I read this one, I knew everything that was going on immediately, which was really, really nice. This is technically young adult, so that's probably why it was just, I was able to grasp it from the beginning. Whereas 9th house, that was definitely one of those books where it got better with the second reread because I could actually understand what the fuck was happening from the start. Cabin at the End of the World. I read this book in this video. I really liked it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I did feel like the ending of this one also was like a little, it wasn't meh, but I wish it would have given me just a tad, a teensy bit more. Gwen and her dad are at a cabin trying to get away, trying to have some peace and quiet, when these random strangers show up to their house and they're like, we need to use you guys because the world is at stake. And you have to help us. Let us in. I'd be like, no. You know what? I actually think I read this book and finished this in September. So ignore Immortal Dark. I did include that in the beginning footage, but now that I think about this, I think I included this in my September reading wrap up. So we'll put her away. That's it for the books that I own. Now let's move on to the books that I read on my Kindle. A Touch of Golden Madness. We read this book for November book club and I gave it 3 stars. I think this was a very fun and very, very, very fast-paced fantasy book, but it fell short for me in a lot of ways, and there was a lot of things throughout this book that I was struggling to overlook, like the fact that the MMC called the FMC rainbow because her eyes turned rainbow. That was a little bit of a struggle. Also, all the different names were a little weird. All the different hair colors were a little weird. And her dad having green hair and a green beard was also a little weird. It was very fast paced. So if you're able to overlook little things like that, or you think you can, it was fast paced and engaging. And I didn't hate my life while reading it, but it was just okay. Christmas in Spite of You. I gave this book 4 stars. I really liked this holiday romance book. The FMC of the book is trying to book her apartment on a website similar to Airbnb to make some extra money for the holidays while she goes home, but then she ends up canceling her trip to go home, and she cancels the person who had booked her place for Airbnb for the week. The person who had booked her place to stay the week up until Christmas is a rich hot man. So he shows up and she's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I booked this place. They end up cohabitating for the week. They have to spend a lot of forced proximity time together. Also, my neighbor just started using a chainsaw. I don't think you'll be able to hear that in the background, but if you hear a chainsaw faintly in the background, I'm so sorry. That is really rude. Whatever. Anyways, they end up cohabitating for the week, spending a lot of time together. She tries to get him in the Christmas spirit, and then, I don't know, they do a little kissing or whatever. Mr. Man also like asks her what she wants to do with her life, and she tells him like her goals, some of her dreams, and he believes in her. The bare minimum, the bare minimum. He's like, I believe in you. You can do this. Next we have The Wraith King, which was my first book ever by Juliet Cross. I gave it 4 stars. I really liked this book. I was looking on Kindle Unlimited for a demon fae romance, and this popped up, and I had so much fun reading it. I think it's the first book in what is to be a series, and I think Juliet Cross really outdid herself with this one. It was so much fun! And this man is a hot-ass demon man, and he's kind of scary on the cover, and she's like a light fae, and he's like dark demon fae, and he like saves her at the beginning or whatever. A lot of people don't like this book by Juliet Cross though. I don't understand, but to each their own. Next we have Wolf Gone Wild by Juliet Cross as well. I didn't like this one as much as The Wraith King. I think it fell a little bit short the last 20%. I was just getting a little bit bored the last 20%, but overall, fun read. The MMC of this book is a wolf. The FMC of this book is a witch. He has a random curse put on him. He doesn't know who put it on him, but he has this curse. And with this curse that is put on him, he cannot focus because his inner wolf is inside of him, like shouting. Like he can't let his wolf out, basically. The wolf is trapped within him. And he can't shift. He can't help himself. He finds out that when he's in the presence of this one witchy girl, everything is quiet and everything's okay. So he's like, will you, 1, help me break this curse? And will you, 2, hang out with me every single day so I can get some work done, because he's an artist and he needs to like sculpt some things. He's like, I can't think unless you're around. Please hang out with me. And I'm over here like, please hang out with them. Forced proximity, forced proximity. Phantasma, yikes. I gave this book 1 star. I did not like this book. I don't know why. I was not able to overlook most of the things in it, and I just feel like a lot of the newer romantasy books that I've read this year have just all been meh for me, and it's starting to make me wonder, like, do I even like romantasy? But in the past, I mean, I liked The Wraith King. That was really the only romantasy book that I've liked this year. In the past, I have always loved romantasy. It's just the newer ones, most of them are not working for me at all. The beginning, I liked the way it was set up. I liked the atmosphere the author was setting. I didn't like the relationship between the 2 characters. I was really screaming at the book, like, why is he just saving her left and right? Why is he just saving her left and right? I was yelling at the book, like, stop. Also, stop having sex. Maybe let's, like, not have sex right now, and let's, like, think through some things. You've known each other for a day. Sometimes I can overlook stuff. This time, I was not able to, and I didn't like the book. There was also these trials in Phantasma, and the trials were fun. Like, I actually liked the trials, but they were not long enough. They were giving me nothing. The trials would last such a short amount of time, and I was like, no, give me more. Why is it already done? And then why are they fucking? Like, stop. Give me more trial. Next, we have A Novel Christmas, which is actually the first holiday book that I read of the season. This was a cutie book. I gave it 3.5 stars. The MMC of this book is a firefighter. The FMC of this book is an author, and she ends up going to this town to get in the holiday spirit because she's writing a Christmas book for the next year, and she ends up going to the town that he lives in and is a firefighter at because this town very much exudes Christmas vibes. She stays in this like rental that is his rental right next to where he lives. So they end up meeting, hitting it off. Next thing you know, The Tyrant Alpha's Rejected Mate, which I also read in this video. I gave this 4.5 stars. No shame. No shame. I loved this book. I ate it up. I think it's technically Omegaverse. The title tells you everything you need to know. This Tyrant Alpha rejected his mate. The FMC of this book, the alpha's mate, is like the lowest of the low in the pack. So when she reveals herself and is like, I'm your mate, he's like, not you. You? No, you're not my mate. He rejects it, and the next thing you know, he's obsessed with her. And he's like, why did I do that? You're mine. And she's like, I don't think so. No, thank you. No, thank you. If there were flaws, weird quirks in this one, I didn't see them. I overlooked them. Moving on to the books that I listened to on audio. First, we have Slewfoot. This is just a tale of bewitchery set way, way, way back in the day in colonial New England. And let me tell you, reading this book made me realize that I would be burned at the fucking stake and be called a witch if I was a woman alive back in the day, because you guys watch my content, you see my personality, you kind of get a feel for who I am. I'm a little bit aggressive. Like, I think I'm just sometimes really blunt, and I know my personality. Sometimes it comes off a little bit aggressive. It's just how I talk, and I'm just direct. I guess that's what you can say. I especially speak my mind, though, to men, so I would be burned at the stake. Abatha, the main character in this book, the FMC of this book, God bless her. God bless her for having to deal with the bullshit that was the men of this time. Her husband, Edward, who she's betrothed to, why can't I get that out? Betrothed to, dies at the beginning of the book. He falls in a hole, kind of. Long story. Anyways, because he dies, she ends up taking over their estate. The people are not happy that a woman is taking over the estate. There are people coming at her left and right, forces coming at her left and right, trying to tear her down. And what does she do? She ends up taking up the help of an entity that like maybe helps her out a little bit with her land. That probably sounded crazy and didn't make any sense, but this book is just a big old tale of bewitchery and a woman sticking up for herself and fighting the way I probably would fight if I was a woman during this time. Such Sharp Teeth. I actually listened to Such Sharp Teeth in 2 sittings on 1.5 speed. My brother had asked me if I wanted to go to a K-pop concert. I do not listen to K-pop, but I will do anything for my brother if he asks and I have the time. He asked me to go with him and he was like, but it's a far drive away. It's 5 hours there, 5 hours back. I understand if it's gonna take too much time. I said, no. Bitch, let's go. I'll listen to an audiobook, and I listened to Such Sharp Teeth on the way there and on the way back. By the time I got back, it was done. This is that audiobook I recommended for people if you are an angry girly, if you have a little bit of internal rage. It's technically classified as horror, but it's very, very, very mild. Like, so mild to the point where I'm like, is this even technically horror? Really? The girl at the very beginning of the book gets bit and becomes a werewolf. But it's kind of the vibe as if like your best friend came to you and was like, I'm a werewolf in real life. And you'd be like, what? What are you talking about? That's very much the vibe. It wasn't written in a way where you were like, yeah, of course she's a werewolf. Why is no one believing her? You're reading it and you're like, well, no shit. Like, she doesn't want to tell anybody. Lights Out. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I gave it 5 stars. Is this a 5-star worthy book? I don't know. I don't know. Is there flaws in this book? Probably. I didn't see them. I was blind. Are you gonna find this book cringy? I don't know. Maybe. To each their own. I gave it 5 stars and you can't expect anything less from me because this is literally a saved page I have on TikTok of just ghost fan edits. I don't know what you want from me. I don't know what you want from me. Don't expect anything less. The MMC of Lights Out is this girl's stalker, and he also is a masked TikToker. Help! Help me! Mom, don't watch this video. She's gonna be like, what the f did I raise? I did end up listening to Rook and Rebel as well, which a lot of people recommended me this book because I liked Lights Out. The beginning of this book was really fun. From the start, first off, the audio narration was good. The MMC, he had a hot ass voice. I was here for it at the beginning. It fell apart the last 50%. But at the beginning of it, the MMC and the FMC literally meet because he's trying to rob her boyfriend at gunpoint. Boyfriend ends up running away and he ends up taking her because he's like, I'm taking you home. What kind of dipshit leaves his girlfriend? That's how they meet at the beginning of the book. It started off really strong and then the last 50% just got a little bit too repetitive for me and I was just like, I'm kind of over it. I think this is the last book. Maybe. Hopefully I'm not overlooking any books. Bright Lights, Big Christmas. This was meh. Another meh Christmas book. There was a romance subplot in this book, but I honestly wish that the romance wouldn't have even been there because I felt like the MMC, while he was cute and he did have his moments, he was like pushy. And he also seemed like he couldn't take no for an answer a little bit. Sometimes I was like, can you just stop asking? She said no. And it wasn't that bad, but I was just like, okay. Less romance book, more just a found family Christmas book. This girl and her brother are selling Christmas trees in New York City. It's the Christmas trees from their family's farm back in North Carolina. And they're up there on the streets selling trees throughout the end of December or maybe all of December. I don't know. They're up there. They're meeting a lot of the neighbors. They're meeting a lot of the people around. They're having some issues go down. And it is just like the story of them being there and selling Christmas trees. Honestly, the more I think about it, the more I want to give it like 2.5 stars. And those are all the books that I read in the months of October and November. Thank you guys so much for watching today's Vlogmas video, and I will see you guys tomorrow.